The galaxy had long whispered about humans. In the courts of the Zorith Dominion, in the academies of the Sailari Conclaves, and in the war rooms of the Klyth Imperium, humans were called myths. Fragile creatures, bound to a small blue planet at the edge of a dying star system, incapable of meaningful achievements in the vastness of space. Scholars laughed at the tales of humans struggling with internal wars and plagues. How could such a species ever matter? They mused, unaware that myths often held hidden truths. Captain Rylan of the Dominion fleet, seated on the bridge of the flagship Eclipser, had scoffed at reports of human space capabilities. "Send scouts," he commanded, "and see if this fable holds any merit." Days later, the scouts returned battered and broken, the remnants of their ships floating in orbit like blackened debris. Reports poured in of orbital defense networks, tactical AI predicting enemy moves, and fleets moving with coordination that outmatched the Dominion's own. Ryland's laughter turned to unease. Determined to see the humans firsthand, Ryland led his fleet into the Sol system. What they saw defied every prediction. Massive orbital stations glimmered under the sun, bristling with weapons far beyond what the Dominion had expected. Human ships moved in precise formations, a deadly ballet of strategy and efficiency. Then the first strike came. A lone human frigate destroyed 3 Dominion cruisers in moments, followed by another, until a squadron of 10 had decimated a small armada, leaving wreckage floating in silence. On the human bridge, Captain Arya Lockhart issued commands with calm precision. Target their navigation nodes. Deploy countermeasures. Maintain Alpha-Delta formation, she instructed, her voice carrying the authority of someone who had been underestimated for centuries. Her crew moved seamlessly, executing each order with perfect timing. Through subspace comms, Dominion officers whispered among themselves. They are not myths," one Sailari soldier stammered. "They are predators in disguise." The scouts sent back reports detailing the humans' unexpected tactics, their ruthlessness balanced by methodical intelligence. Every encounter left Rylan and his officers increasingly wary. For centuries, humans had been mocked as a weak species, a mere curiosity at the edges of galactic politics. Now, they were revealed as something far more dangerous, adaptable, strategic, and unrelentingly powerful. Even as the Dominion regrouped, the galaxy itself began to shift in perception. Whispers replaced laughter, rumors of human ingenuity spread through academies and war rooms alike. The species that had been laughed at, dismissed, and written off as myth had shown that their strength was not just in numbers of weapons, but in unity, intellect, and sheer resolve. Humanity did not boast or flaunt their power. They waited, observing the galaxy's reactions, letting each encounter serve as a lesson. Underestimate them, and you would pay the cost. The human ships continued to patrol the fringes of the system, silent sentinels of the blue planet that had produced legends of unyielding courage. From the perspective of those who had mocked them, humans had become a force to fear, not because they sought conquest, but because they embodied a potential no one had dared predict. By the time the Dominion realized the scope of their mistake, the myth had become reality, and humans stood ready, calm and unshaken in the face of disbelief, ready to remind the galaxy why no species should ever underestimate them. The Dominion fleet had barely begun to comprehend the humans' capabilities when a new wave of ships emerged from the shadows of the asteroid belt. They were sleek, fast, and equipped with weaponry that seemed almost organic in its design, responding to attacks before they even landed. Ryland's fleet, seasoned in countless skirmishes across the galaxy, found itself on the defensive. The humans moved not as individuals, but as a collective mind, each vessel anticipating the other's actions with uncanny precision. Captain Arya Lockhart observed from her bridge, eyes scanning the displays with a serene intensity. "Divide the fleet," she instructed. "Draw them in, then collapse on their vectors. Fire only when coordinated." Her crew executed every command flawlessly, a testament to decades of rigorous training and advanced AI-assisted calculations. The Dominion forces struggled to react, their formation breaking apart under a barrage of missiles and energy beams. The Salari War Council had convened to discuss the reports, disbelief etched into every face. "These humans," one officer murmured, "their tactics are unlike anything we've ever seen. They anticipate, they adapt, they strike with precision. They are unstoppable." Across the galaxy, whispers spread. What was once considered myth now instilled fear, a term the Dominion soldiers would come to know intimately. Arya's voice echoed calmly over the ship's comms. "Prepare boarding drones. Disable their communications nodes. Target the lead cruiser first. Timing is everything." Each order unfolded like clockwork. Small strike teams deployed from the frigates, cutting through shields and boarding enemy ships, disabling systems with surgical efficiency. Even the most battle-hardened Dominion captains could do nothing but watch as their strongest vessels were neutralized one by one. In the midst of the chaos, a young human ensign reported, "Sir, the enemy is attempting a counterflank." Arya nodded, unflinching. "Redirect our interceptors. Maintain Alpha-Delta formation. Let them come. They'll find the cost of underestimating humanity is far higher than they imagine." The Dominion officers watching the engagement could hardly believe the sight. A species once laughed at was orchestrating destruction with meticulous control, each move anticipating their opponent's reactions several steps ahead. As the battle progressed, the humans demonstrated not only tactical genius but restraint. Entire enemy squadrons were rendered inoperable without unnecessary casualties, sending a clear message. Humans were not mindless aggressors. They were calculated, disciplined, and utterly relentless when threatened. The Dominion fleet retreated in disarray, leaving a field of disabled ships and floating debris as a testament to human ingenuity and courage. Across the galaxy, the myth of humanity had begun to crumble, replaced by a reluctant acknowledgement of their true power. Planets that had mocked Earth's history began to reconsider their stance, fearing the consequences of encountering humans unprepared. Star systems once indifferent now monitored human movements with caution, knowing that a single miscalculation could lead to annihilation. Arya stood on the bridge, calm and composed, as reports of the battle streamed in. "This is only the beginning," she said softly. "They will learn. The galaxy will learn." Her words carried the weight of centuries, the patience of a species underestimated for too long. The humans had revealed the first glimpse of their true strength, a combination of intellect, unity, and unyielding resolve. The Dominion, like many others, would soon discover that myths could be deadly, and humanity was no exception. The stars seemed quieter now, as if the universe itself paused to witness the rise of a species that would no longer be dismissed. Every destroyed cruiser, every tactical maneuver executed flawlessly, sent a ripple across civilizations, a warning. Humans were no longer a story to mock. They were a force that demanded respect, vigilance, and fear. The aftermath of the Sol System battle sent shockwaves throughout the galaxy. Reports of human tactical genius and relentless efficiency flooded starports, academies, and council chambers alike. Where once humans had been considered myths, now they were spoken of with hushed awe and growing fear. Entire fleets recalculated strategies, assuming that humanity's reach extended far beyond a single system. The Dominion, humiliated and wary, struggled to rebuild its confidence. Captain Arya Lockhart stood on the bridge of her flagship, surveying the incoming transmissions. Intelligence reports indicated alien factions attempting to form alliances to counter humanity's rise. "Let them come together," she said quietly. "Coordination among enemies is predictable. They will learn that underestimating humans is their first and last mistake." Her officers nodded, accustomed to her calm demeanor even amid the storm of galactic tension. Small human reconnaissance squads were dispatched to shadow these alliances, gathering data, mapping out fleet strengths, and predicting responses. Each encounter revealed the alien faction's arrogance, their overconfidence in technology and numbers. But humans were not just strong, they were cunning. Using deceptive maneuvers, feints, and calculated retreats, human ships drew enemy forces into traps with near-perfect precision. Entire convoys disappeared into voids where ambushes awaited, leaving nothing but wreckage behind. On a distant observation post, a Salari commander muttered, "They are always 2 steps ahead. Always anticipating. How can a species so small in number wield such power?" Across the council chambers, similar sentiments echoed. Humans, it seemed, had turned the very idea of warfare into an art form, blending intellect with unrelenting aggression when necessary. Back on the bridge, Arya's attention remained fixed on the galactic map. Deploy drone clusters to these coordinates. Ensure no ambush goes undetected. Maintain stealth until the final strike. Her crew executed every maneuver flawlessly. In each engagement, humans displayed not only technical superiority, but adaptability. When one strategy faltered, another instantly replaced it. The aliens, despite superior numbers, found themselves ensnared in webs of strategy they could barely comprehend. The myth of weak humans had now been replaced with a new narrative: humans as predators disguised in legends. Across communications networks, stories of human precision, patience, and merciless effectiveness spread like wildfire. Even species long considered the apex predators of the galaxy paused to reconsider their assumptions. Where fear had once been absent, it now coursed through fleets, influencing decision-making at the highest levels. Amid these growing tensions, humans continued to exhibit control over the situation. They did not strike recklessly, nor did they seek to annihilate beyond necessity. Each engagement was a calculated lesson to those who doubted them. Intelligence reports indicated minimal civilian casualties on neutral worlds, further cementing humanity's reputation as not just fearsome, but disciplined and deliberate in its actions. Arya walked along the observation deck, watching the stars streak past the viewport as her ships moved silently between systems. "Let them learn," she said again. "Let every system that mocks us, every council that doubts us, remember why myths were created in the first place." Behind her, her officers worked in quiet precision, ensuring that each fleet movement, each strike, each tactical decision upheld humanity's reputation for unparalleled discipline and devastating effectiveness. As the galaxy watched in a mixture of fear and reluctant admiration, humans became the measuring standard for strategy, adaptability, and endurance. Legends once dismissed as bedtime stories for alien children had come alive, a testament to resilience, intellect, and the unyielding spirit of a species underestimated for far too long. The Dominion, along with countless other civilizations, began to whisper a single, chilling realization: humanity was not to be underestimated. And as the stars stretched infinitely around them, humans continued their calculated march, each action deliberate, each victory silent but profound, leaving behind a galaxy that had once mocked them now trembling at the might of a species that had proven its legends true. The galaxy had begun to understand that humans were no longer myths to be mocked. Across countless star systems, fleets paused, councils deliberated, and strategists recalculated. Every engagement humans had participated in had left a mark, a testament not only to their strength, but to their patience, precision, and relentless adaptability. The Dominion, still reeling from earlier defeats, attempted to form a united front, but even the combined fleets moved cautiously, hesitant to face the species they had long underestimated. Captain Arya Lockhart stood on the bridge of her flagship, surveying the galactic map that glowed with the positions of enemy forces. Her crew worked silently and efficiently, the calm hum of machinery punctuated only by the soft beeping of tactical alerts. Prepare the Alpha Strike units. Deploy interceptors to the Outer Rim. We do not wait for them to act. We set the terms, she instructed. Her words carried authority, quiet yet unmistakably commanding. As human fleets advanced toward the outer colonies of the Dominion, alien commanders scrambled to anticipate their moves. Each calculated strike, each feint, each sudden withdrawal from human forces left them confounded. Even the most experienced admirals could not discern patterns, for humans seemed to anticipate reactions before they were even considered. Intelligence analysts began to refer to the humans as a living algorithm, an adaptive force that could outthink and outmaneuver any opposition. In one critical engagement, a Dominion cruiser attempted to ambush a human convoy near the gravity well of a massive gas giant. As the enemy launched their first volleys, human ships executed a flawless countermaneuver, slipping behind the enemy lines and disabling propulsion systems with pinpoint accuracy. Boarding teams infiltrated the cruiser, neutralizing critical systems without unnecessary destruction. The Dominion soldiers could only watch as their superior numbers were rendered irrelevant by human efficiency and foresight. Across the galaxy, the whispers of humanity's rise had become a chorus of fear and respect. Planets that had previously mocked Earth's legend now fortified their defenses, knowing that even minimal engagement with humans could end catastrophically. Tales of human resilience, intelligence, and coordinated might spread from one system to the next, inspiring caution among those who had once dismissed them. On the bridge of the flagship, Arya studied the fleet's status. "This is the culmination of centuries of being underestimated," she said softly, almost to herself. "We fight not for conquest, but to remind the galaxy why myths exist. Let every star system remember that humans are not to be underestimated." Her crew nodded, a quiet understanding passing among them. Every officer, every pilot, every engineer had contributed to the orchestration of humanity's reputation, a calculated and deliberate display of strength tempered with precision. The battle reached its climax as the combined Dominion forces attempted a desperate offensive. Human interceptors weaved through the attack, striking vulnerable points, while command drones relayed real-time analysis of every enemy move. Civilian ships were evacuated with care, casualties minimized, yet every military asset of the Dominion was systematically neutralized. By the time the last cruiser floated disabled in orbit, the message was clear. Humanity was not a myth, not a legend, but a force that demanded acknowledgement, respect, and faith. As silence fell over the battlefield, the stars bore witness to the rise of a species that had long been underestimated. Humans did not gloat. They did not boast. They simply held the galaxy's attention with quiet precision, leaving behind wreckage and strategic lessons that would be studied for generations. The galaxy, once mocking, now acknowledged a simple truth. Humanity's power lay not just in weaponry, but in intelligence, unity, adaptability, and the unyielding spirit of a people who had never been taken seriously until it was too late. And as the fleets withdrew and the stars settled into their endless patterns, humans remained vigilant, patient, and ready. Every system that had doubted them would remember, and every species that had dismissed them would feel the weight of their legends. Myths had become reality, and humanity, calm and composed, ensured that no one would ever mistake them for mere stories again.